Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving deep into the Japanese approach to living a long and happy life.
Focusing on Okinawa.
Exactly. An island that's home to a remarkable number of centenarians.
Yeah, they really seem to have figured something out.
That's what we're here to explore, and we've got a fascinating YouTube video transcript all about a concept called Ikigai.
Which is really interesting because we're going beyond the usual diet and exercise advice and looking at a philosophy, a whole way of being that could be contributing to this longevity.
I'm intrigued. So let's jump right in. What exactly is Ikigai?
Well, it's not just about loving your job.
Right.
It's much bigger than that. It's about finding a sense of purpose and joy in all areas of your life. Your passions, your relationships, even those everyday routines.
So it's not just about finding your dream job, but finding purpose in everything you do.
Precisely.
Hmm.
And, in Japan, the concept of retirement, as we know it, doesn't really exist. People continue to find meaning and stay engaged in activities throughout their lives.
Makes sense. Now, speaking of living long and meaningfully, let's talk about Okinawa. It's a blue zone, right? What makes it so special?
It's remarkable. Imagine a community where chronic illnesses are rare. People stay active well into their later years, and the sense of community is strong. That's every apartment. Okinawa studies have even shown that centenarians there have higher levels of certain hormones and lower rates of dementia compared to global averages.
It sounds like paradise, but I'm guessing it's more than just beautiful scenery. What role does Ikigai play in their lives?
Ikigai is deeply embedded in the culture of Okinawa. Their diet, which is high in vegetables, tofu, and fish, does play a role,
Right.
but it's really those non-dietary factors that are most fascinating. They have very active lifestyles, strong community ties, and a distinct sense of purpose in their everyday activities.
It sounds like they have a really holistic approach, mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely.
I'm curious to know what specific practices contribute to this incredible well-being.
One really interesting practice is called moai, which is a tradition of forming tight-knit social groups.
Sort of like a built-in support system, lifelong friends who share your journey.
Exactly. They provide that sense of belonging and purpose and really contribute to overall well-being. But their relationship with food is fascinating too. Have you heard of hara hachibu?
I feel like I have. Is it about portion control?
You got it. It's the practice of eating until you're 80% full. It's a mindful way of eating that helps prevent overeating and aids digestion.
That's great advice. In our world, it's so easy to just keep eating even when we're full.
It really is. But it's not just about the physical body. They really emphasize keeping the mind sharp as well.
I see.
They do this through activities that stimulate their minds, like learning new skills, playing games, and staying socially connected. The video transcript even mentions a neuroscientist named Shlomo Bresnitz who highlights the brain's need for constant stimulation.
It's like exercise for your brain.
Exactly. And they're masters of finding flow in their everyday activities.
Yeah.
That feeling of being completely absorbed in what you're doing, where time seems to disappear.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling when I'm writing and totally lost in the story.
Exactly. And according to the video transcript, people often experience flow when they're doing something aligned with their ikigai, those things that bring joy and purpose. Japan has these incredible artisans called takumi.
Takumi.
Yeah, they dedicate their lives to mastering a particular skill.
Like a sushi chef creating a perfect piece of sushi.
Exactly. Or a potter meticulously shaping clay, or even something like an elevator operator who finds joy in the precision and rhythm of their movements.
Really. Even something that might seem mundane can be a source of flow.
Absolutely. The takumi are a great example of that. It's not necessarily about the task itself, but how you approach it. And that brings us to another key aspect of the Okinawan way of life, embracing imperfection.
Yes. Have you heard of Wabi-Sabi?
Oh, I love that concept. It's all about finding beauty in the imperfect, right?
Yes. Wabi-Sabi encourages you to appreciate the impermanence and imperfection of life and to see the beauty in the natural wear and tear.
It's a philosophy that cultivates acceptance and resilience.
I love that we could talk about this all day, but I think we've covered a lot of ground already.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should pause here and let our listeners absorb all this incredible information before we dive into the specifics of Wabi-Sabi.
That sounds like a great idea. Let's give everyone a moment to reflect.
We'll be back after a short break.
With more on the art of Wabi-Sabi and how it relates to this incredible Okinawan way of life.
Be tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Okinawan secret to a long and happy life. Before the break, we were discussing Wabi-Sabi, the art of finding beauty in imperfection.
I'm so intrigued by this idea. Can you give us some examples of how wabi-sabi shows up in Okinawan culture?
Absolutely. The video transcript talks about how Wabi-Sabi is reflected in traditional Japanese architecture.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of focusing on these grand, permanent structures like you might see in the West,
Right.
Japanese architecture often embraces the impermanence of nature.
So it's not about resisting time, but working with it.
Exactly. A great example of this is the Grand Shrine of Eyes, which is this sacred Shinto shrine that's rebuilt every 20 years.
Wow.
It's rebuilt from scratch using traditional techniques and materials. This cyclical reconstruction really embodies that wabi-sabi principle of accepting the transient nature of things.
It's like a beautiful metaphor for change and renewal.
Yeah.
But what about the Okinawans themselves? What are their perspectives on aging and longevity?
The video transcript features some amazing interviews with Okinawan centenarians. They have some incredible insights.
I bet. What are some of the key takeaways from those interviews?
One centenarian said, "The secret to a long life is not to worry and keep your heart young."
Wow.
She really emphasizes the importance of staying young at heart and nurturing connections with others.
That's beautiful. It speaks to the power of a positive mindset and strong social ties.
Absolutely. Another centenarian attributes his long life to his daily routine of gardening.
Interesting.
He finds so much joy in taking care of his plants and staying active. He believes that keeping your hands busy keeps your mind sharp.
It's about finding purpose and joy in even the simplest activities.
Exactly. And community plays a huge role. One woman shared that her daily gatherings with friends are her most important ikigai. They meet up, share stories, and offer each other support.
So strong social bonds are really a cornerstone of their lifestyle.
Absolutely. The video transcript paints this vibrant picture of Okinawan social life with lively birthday celebrations, energetic games of gate ball, and enthusiastic karaoke
It
sessions.
sounds like they really know how to celebrate life and have fun.
They certainly do. They prioritize joy and connection, which are vital for a long and happy life. Now, while we've touched on their diet, it's clear that lifestyle plays a major role in their longevity.
But it's not just about what they eat, but how they live, how they connect, and how they find purpose.
Absolutely. But speaking of food, I'm curious to learn more about the specifics of the Okinawan diet. What makes it unique?
Yeah, let's dive into that.
It's not about restrictive rules or deprivation.
Right.
It's about balance, variety, and mindful eating. Remember hara hachibu?
Eating until you're 80% full.
Yeah.
That's a great reminder to listen to your body.
Exactly. The video transcript highlights that Okinawans eat a wide range of foods with an emphasis on vegetables.
I see.
They aim for at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies a day and try to include an average of 18 different foods in their diet each day.
18 different foods. Wow, that's impressive.
It is. They also focus on grains like rice and limit their intake of sugar and processed foods. And they love a special drink called sanpincha.
Pincha, what's that?
It's this delicious blend of green tea and jasmine flowers. It's packed with antioxidants.
Sounds refreshing.
It is. Studies have linked green tea to all sorts of health benefits, from lower cholesterol to improved heart health.
That's great to hear. What about other staples of their diet?
They eat fish about 3 times a week, and their main source of meat is pork, which they consume in moderation. They also have this unique citrus fruit called shikuwasa.
Shikuwasa.
Yeah, it's super tart and full of antioxidants. They even use it to make a delicious cake.
So their diet is a mix of familiar and more exotic ingredients, but it's all about fresh, whole foods.
Exactly.
I don't know.
And it's not just what they eat, but how they eat. They practice mindful eating, savoring each bite and appreciating the flavors.
Sounds delicious and nourishing.
Yeah.
What about exercise?
That's another key element. We're not talking intense workouts here.
Okay.
It's more about gentle movement, incorporating activity into their daily lives in a natural way.
I like the sound of that.
The video transcript shows these active elders doing these traditional forms of exercise that they've been doing for centuries.
Oh, wow. Like what?
Things like radio taiso qigong and tai chi.
I've heard of Tai Chi. What's Radio Taiso?
Imagine a group of people, young and old, all doing synchronized movements together, often to music broadcast on the radio.
Yeah, okay.
It's a simple way to warm up the body, improve flexibility, and connect with others.
I love that. Movement and community all in one. What about Qigong?
Qigong focuses on coordinating breath movement and meditation to cultivate energy and well-being.
So it's about finding practices that work for you and bring your mind and body into balance.
Exactly. But life isn't always easy, even in Okinawa. How do they deal with challenges and setbacks?
That's a great question.
It brings us to a core principle in Okinawan culture, resilience.
Resilience.
They have a saying, Nana korobi ya uki, which means fall 7 times, rise 8.
That's powerful. It's about never giving up no matter what life throws at you.
Exactly. They see challenges as opportunities for growth. The video transcript also mentions the influence of Stoicism and Buddhism.
I've heard of those. Both emphasize resilience, right?
They do. Stoicism encourages you to prepare for adversity by mentally rehearsing challenging situations,
Interesting.
while Buddhism focuses on mindfulness and acceptance, observing your emotions without letting them control you.
So it's about developing those mental tools to handle the ups and downs of life.
Exactly. And they also draw strength from Wabi-Sabi, which we talked about earlier.
Finding beauty in imperfection.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does. Accepting the impermanence of life, the imperfections that make things unique and beautiful, is a powerful source of strength. The transcript has some great examples of wabi-sabi in Japanese architecture, like the use of natural materials that age beautifully over time.
I love how all these concepts tie together to create this holistic approach to life.
It is remarkable. But the video transcript goes even further and introduces the concept of anti-fragility.
Anti-fragility. Now I'm really intrigued. What's that about?
It's about becoming stronger because of challenges, not just in spite of them.
Okay.
The author uses the example of the mythical Hydra.
The multi-headed serpent.
Yes, the one that grows 2 heads for every one you cut off.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So anti-fragility is like that. The more you face challenges, the stronger you become.
Exactly. It's about thriving in chaos, becoming more robust through adversity.
That's a fascinating idea. But how do we actually cultivate anti-fragility?
Well, the transcript outlines a few practical steps. The first is to identify what makes you fragile.
What makes you vulnerable?
Right, those things that weaken you or hold you back. Then you work on minimizing those vulnerabilities.
So things like paying off debts, cutting ties with toxic people, limiting time-wasting activities.
Exactly. It's about streamlining your life to create space for growth.
Focusing on what truly matters.
Exactly. And finally, embrace randomness and uncertainty. Step outside your comfort zone experiment. Allow yourself to be surprised.
So it's about welcoming challenges as opportunities for growth.
Precisely. So we've explored the Okinawan way of life, their diet, their philosophy, their resilience. What are your biggest takeaways?
What strikes me is how interconnected everything is: Ikigai, community, mindfulness, resilience. They all work together to create this tapestry of a long and happy life.
You're absolutely right. It's not about any one thing, but the synergy of all these practices. It's about embracing life fully with all its imperfections and challenges and finding joy and purpose in every moment.
It's a truly inspiring way to live, and something we can all learn from regardless of where we live. It's amazing how much we can learn from the Okinawans and their approach to life. But I think what's most inspiring is that it's not about some impossible standard. It's about making small choices that really add up over time.
You're so right. You don't have to uproot your life and move to Okinawa to benefit from these principles. Start with small steps, even shifts in perspective.
So what are some things our listeners can take away and apply to their own lives?
Think about Ikigai. What brings you joy and a sense of purpose? Could be spending time with loved ones, pursuing a creative hobby, giving back to your community.
Yeah, finding those things that make you feel alive.
Exactly. Find ways to weave those activities into your daily life. Even small moments can have a big impact.
And what about Harahachibu? How can we practice that mindful eating in a world full of temptations?
It starts with paying attention to your body, recognizing those signals of hunger and fullness. Slow down, savor each bite, and stop when you feel satisfied, not stuffed.
Shift the focus from how much you're eating to the quality of the experience.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of social connections. Make time for those meaningful conversations, those shared experiences.
It makes such a difference.
It really does. And when it comes to movement, find something you enjoy that fits into your routine. Could be walking, dancing, gardening, taking the stairs.
Make it a part of your life, not a chore.
Exactly. And remember that Okinawans saying Nanakorobi Yaoki, fall 7 times, rise 8. Embrace those challenges as opportunities for growth.
It's about resilience, bouncing back stronger.
And don't forget the beauty of wabi-sabi. Embrace imperfection, appreciate the ever-changing nature of things, find joy in those everyday moments.
Let go of the need for perfection and find beauty in the present.
This deep dive has been such a fascinating exploration of the Okinawan way of life and the secrets to a long and happy life.
It really has. And while we've just scratched the surface, I hope it sparks some ideas for our listeners.
You have the power to shape your life, to find purpose, joy, and resilience. It starts with small steps, conscious choices, and embracing the beauty of imperfection.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you? What will you carry with you? Until next time, keep diving deep and keep seeking those sparks of joy and purpose in your everyday lives.